Each folder, everything that's in that folder is the same for everybody. I've got some extras for whoever is not here. If you'll open it up, you'll see your trail badge is in here. It's let's see this. If y'all may, let's take this right here and flip it over to the last page, third page, and we are on requirement 11. So I'm going to answer those questions. If you'll look in your folder, there is a sheet that looks like this, has this little EverSource thing at the top of it. You'll pull it out. That's going to help us in this answer some of the questions. So first of all, like Shelley said, my name is Jim Darlington. I am actually helped start the brother troop, if you will. Troop one used to be 179, now it's Troop 10-865 that meets at West Park Baptist. And Shelley's husband, Steve Stockton, is our troop master. So been involved with American Heritage Girls and Trail Life for a long time. I love you guys. I'm so excited to be here. It's gonna be fun. Okay, so we're gonna have a really good time, but we got something on the line. I got 2 envelopes here. They both have money in them. So if you participate and you do a good job, one of these could be yours. So I'm going to put these up here. And when we get to those different sections, so don't fall asleep on me, okay? Don't fall asleep. So I am a financial advisor with EverSource Wealth Advisors. I have the franchise, if you will, here in Knoxville. Our mission statement, if you look at here on this, the mission statement says, EverSource Knoxville exists to glorify God by helping those we serve clarify, plan for, and reach their financial goals while equipping them to be good stewards of the resources the Lord has entrusted to them. So that's where I want to start. God is the giver of all things. When we say all, he gives all things. He's given us lots of abilities. Each one of you ladies have incredible talents. They'll start to bloom and flourish, and you'll see all kinds of stuff as you get older. But most everybody here has dealt with money. Raise your hand if you've never bought anything. Okay, well, that proves my point. Okay, so everybody here has dealt with money in some form or fashion. So we're going to discuss different parts of how to deal with money, but we're just going to talk about the stock market. We're going to talk about stock. We're going to play a stock market game, and we're also going to learn a rule that is really super, super, super helpful, especially when you deal with your friends, and you can be they can be impressed. So I'm going to go through real quick. We may not get through all of them, but all the answers. So every question that's unnumbered is on the back of this sheet. So on the back of that sheet, every single answer is on there. We won't do a deep dive into that, but you can read this, and we'll go through it a little quickly. A couple of highlight points, but that way whoever on the Zoom call gets it, all those answers on that. Okay. So first question, difference between stock purchase and a mutual fund purchase. And we'll turn that off. So is not a lot except for what you're actually purchasing. So how many of you guys know what a stock is? Don't know what a stock is? You do? You do? Because my dad loves his Bitcoin stuff. Okay. Bitcoin is not a stock, but that's okay. That's close to it. It is something, but I wouldn't consider it a stock. Sorry. Yeah, that's okay. It's all right. So stock is ownership in a company. Bitcoin is a currency. It's not ownership in a company, but it's a type of, if you will, investment. So piece of ownership. So if you own a stock, you own a part of that company. So if you buy a share of Home Depot, guess what? You're an owner of Home Depot. And you get all kinds of stuff in the mail, shareholder things. You can vote on things, you can stuff, but that is stock. Now, a mutual fund, because it asks the question, what's the difference between a stock and a mutual fund? A mutual fund is basically a basket of stocks. You can buy a mutual fund and you might own 10 or 30 or 100 or 200 stocks all in that one thing. An ETF, it's on the back of that sheet, is an exchange traded fund. It's almost identical to a mutual fund, a basket of stocks. So when you own a stock, you own stock in one company. You just own Home Depot and that's it. But you own a mutual fund, you can own Lowe's, Home Depot, Johnson & Johnson. You can own lots of different companies. That's the difference. You're diversified with a mutual fund in lots. Stock, you're highly concentrated. How many of you guys have ever gone with your parents? You've driven to Pilot and you gotten gas at Pilot or something at Pilot. Pilot is a company. It is owned by the Haslam family. It is not publicly traded. You can't go buy shares of Pilot Flying J. You have to be invited in. The family has all the voting rights. It's really closely held. So what we're talking about today are mainly publicly traded stocks, mutual funds, exchange traded funds. What you can go and buy on the, on an online service or something like that. How are trades made? You'd have to open up an account at Fidelity or Schwab or something like that. And it's on the back of the sheet, so you can just highlight or write notes on this. But if you open that up and you deposit money in that account, you can click on a button and you can buy whatever you want to that's on the stock exchange. You'll give them the order. They will go to the exchange, buy your shares, give the money to the seller, and then your shares will show up in your account. It's pretty simple. Anybody can do it. If you're under 18, you need to get your parents to help you open that account. You just can't go do it on your own. As far as how much money you need to get started, you can start with as little as 50 bucks, maybe $100. It just depends on the price of the stock. Like right now, Home Depot, and I use Home Depot because I'm just familiar with it. It's like $350 a share. Okay, so you're gonna have to have $350. You can't buy a partial share, but you could buy another stock that might be $15 a share, and it costs you $15. So you could literally open an account and put 15 bucks in it. Most of the exchange traded funds are the share price is between 5 and 30 bucks a share. So you can buy one share of each one of those ETFs for that. So you don't have to have a lot. It's great to start out when you don't have a lot, because guess what? If you don't have a lot, you can't lose a lot. But if you put a lot of money in, the market goes up and down, you could, it could lose a significant amount of money. So the qualifications or education necessary for careers, you don't necessarily have to have an undergraduate degree, but we recommend to be a financial advisor. If you're going to be a CFP, and in your, see there's a card taped in your, if you look at that card that's taped into the side of your, you'll see my name says Jim Darlington or James K or whatever it says, Jim Darlington. And it says CKA, and it says CFP, and it says CRPS. To get each one of those designations, you actually have to have a degree. So if you don't have an undergraduate degree, you can't earn any of those designations. Now you could be a financial advisor, but you can't get those designations. And I did put in here, Liberty University. How many of you guys have ever heard of Liberty University? Is a great school. It's in Lynchburg, Virginia. They have the largest online enrollment in the country. 130,000 people are enrolled. They make $300 million a year on online enrollment. That's why they can basically give everybody scholarships that tries to. If you enroll online, they will give you a scholarship. But they have one of only 2 financial planning degrees in the country. And if you get a degree from them with a financial planning, background degree, they will almost, not guarantee, but like 95% of the people that graduate from that end up in their career with a firm somewhere. That's the best, to me, that's the best road to go down if you're ever going to do that. So that's liberty. And then, do I like my career? I love my career. I can be kingdom minded. I have a platform to share the gospel with people. I pray with my clients before the meetings, pray with them on the phone it's just awesome. My income, the Lord through this industry has provided more than enough for our family, for my wife to stay at home. We have 8 kids. She's homeschooled all of them, all the way through. We're on the last 2 right now. There's 11 and 14-year-old boys. And the other ones are all in college and some are getting their PhD. So homeschooling has paid off. The oldest daughter, HG, Stars and Stripes on this. Let's see. It's also allowed me to be generous and I can give. My wife and I have helped people out. It's just fantastic. You can say it's better to give than receive. 100%, 100%, 100%. It's better to give than receive. I employ multiple people so I can bless those people. How many of you guys know? Does anybody here know Patty? So Patty Salvador, who was in the troop when we were here, who helped kind of start the troop, she now works for me. So got an HG mom that works for me. Relationships, I get to build relationships with my clients. And some of them have become dear, dear friends, almost like family. And then the other thing is flexibility. I can do a lot. I can start a trail life trip. I can go on outings. I can do a lot of things because I basically run my own schedule within reason, but I can run my own schedule. What they dislike about the career, many times my clients get too focused on monthly things because it's just about piling up money, and that's not what we're doing. God's given us money so that we can give it away to support his kingdom. And so that's the sad part about it is people get focused on that. But the great part about it is I get to, guess what? I get kind of a road, a pathway, and to speak into their lives about, hey, have you ever thought about this? Have you ever thought that, this might be a better choice than this? And we have really deep discussions. Some people cry in our meetings. I mean, it's been awesome. So what I dislike about my career is also one of the reasons why I did my career. Would I recommend it to anybody else? Yes. My son Micah is in Birmingham right now, training to come up here next year and be a financial advisor in my office. He's 20, he'll be 25 next week. And he's been down there about almost 7 or 8 months. So he's got another year and a half. But yes, I would recommend it. It's really hard to get in this industry today than it was 30 years ago by yourself. You really need to get a degree, like I said, and then work with a firm and then just work your way up in that firm. Because there's lots of reasons, but I'll just tell you that I'm going to keep this. All right, so I'm going to teach you guys a rule. Grab this right here. It's like this it says Rule of 72. It's in your packet. I am going to guess nobody here knows what the Rule of 72 is, right? Yes, okay. So I'm going to do some math real quick in my head, and y'all are going to be amazed. I'm just kidding. So I can tell you almost to the penny how much your money will be worth in a certain amount of years if you give me the interest rate, just by this rule. So this Rule 72 tells you how fast things double. So the Rule 72 basically says that if you take 72 and you divide it by either years or the interest rate, you can find out which of the other you don't know. So let's do it real quick. On the back of your paper, there's some blanks. To help you guys with 2 of the blanks, you're going to fill in the rest. And whoever finishes first correctly gets some. Okay, so
do they need a calculator?
There's some calculators here. Who needs a calculator?
You need 100. Here's the phone. Here's the phone. Maybe they can share.
So guys, here you go. Let's look at the first one. So we're going to read that first definition. It says years to double. So the formula is 72 right here. 72 divided by the expected rate of return. So the top one is 10, right? 10%. Y'all see that right there? It says 10%. So what's the answer? So if I take 72, I divide it by 10, what do I get? How many times does 10 go into 72? What's that? 7.2. So 7.2 years it takes for my money to double. So if I've got $10,000 and I go out roughly 20 years, say 21 years, how much money will I have in 21 years? If it takes about 7 years to double, so I'm going to double 3 times, right? 7 goes into 21 3 times. So double 1 time goes from 10 to 20,000. 2 doubles goes to what? 40,000, right? 3 doubles goes to $80,000. So if I do nothing, I put $10,000 in an account and I wait 21 years and I earn 10%, my 10 grand is worth $80,000. 80,000. So you can write for that answer 7.2 years. Okay, this isn't difficult. Let's look down here at the bottom. I'm going to do the other one. This one is 72 divided by years, and we're going to put 10 years. So what is my interest rate that I need if I divide 10 years into 72? What do I get? 7.2%. Okay, you got the hang of it. So that's the answer for the first one. On the second expected rate of return, so 10 years, the interest 7.2%. So if I want my money to double in 10 years, I need to earn 7.2%. All right. So I'm going to let you guys, we're going to work through this, okay? So let's go back up to the top. 7%. How fast will my money double if I earn 7%? So remember, 10% is 7.2 years. What if I earn 7%? How many years will it take for me to double my money?
7% of what?
7% divided in 72 is what?
That's like about 10.2 years.
10.
Right here.
10 point what?
10.3.
That's right. So about 10.3 years. Okay, so are y'all noticing a trend? The bigger the interest rate, the shorter time it takes to double your money, right? That makes sense.
0.007.
Okay. So let's go over here. 72 divided by 7 years.
7.
What kind of interest rate do I need to get? What kind of interest rate am I going to, if I want my money to double every 7 years, what kind of interest rate? Look over here. No. 10, that's right. Yeah, so 10.2%. So what we're going to fill in the blanks. The top one right there, if you're going to earn 10%, it's 7.2 years. If you're going to earn 7, it's 10 years. Okay. So let's use a calculator on the next one. Take 72 and divide it by 5. What is that?
14.4.
So it's going to take you 14.4 years to double your money if you earn 5. Okay. What's the answer to the bottom? You shouldn't have to. You don't even need your calculator. There you go. Okay. All right. So here is our quiz. How much money will you have in 42 years if you start with $3,000 and you earn 10% a year? So do you know how to set that up?
30,000? 30,000.
It's only 3,000. I mean, you're starting with 3. Okay. So we're gonna do the math. Well, actually, I'm not. Who can come up with that?
Say it again.
You got 42 years. You're gonna earn 10. Okay. So how many doubles will you get? How many times will it double?
Is it 4.2?
4.2 what?
Uh,
Yeah, you're getting right on there. So now that you know that, double that 3,000. How many times? Yes, sir.
Is it 1,260,000?
I wish, but
I don't know. It just,
that would be awesome. I'm kidding. I'm quitting my job and giving you the money. Yeah.
is it 17,499?
It's not.
Is it 12,600?
No. You're getting it right.
12,006. 12. Yeah, 1,206,000. No.
Is it 7.14285714?
No.
Okay, repeat it again.
Okay.
Start out with 3,000.
Start out with 3,000. You put it in the bank and you earn 10%. If you earn 10%, how many years will it take to double?
Is it 907,200?
No.
Oh, wait.
How many years does it take to double at 10%? Numbers up here on the board. How many years does it take to double? If you earn 10%, how many years?
0.1.
No, if you earn,
7.2.
what?
7.2.
Okay, how many times does 7.7 go? How many times does 7 go into 42?
6. 6 times.
It's going 6 times? Okay. So your money's gonna double 6 times? So you start with 3,000. Money's gonna double 3,000 gonna double 6 times.
Is it 18,000?
18,000.
18,000.
And here we go.
Is
Is this
it
for
18,000? Is it
This is for the prize.
Okay, well,
What's that?
36,000?
No, hold on a second. Let me hold on a second. I'm gonna do this in my mind because I want to just make sure I'm right. All right. So okay. All right. So I think I know what the answer is. What did you guys get? See, anybody?
18,000.
It's not 18,000.
It's not?
Not 18,000.
Oh, 18,000?
Okay, so 3,000. Nobody wants this money, do you?
I want this money.
Okay, so it's 3,000 times. 8,000.
Think about it doubling. About it doubling
Oh.
each year.
Oh.
Each year.
Is it 36,000?
Is it 17,400?
Draw it out, write it out. Write it out. Ain't this.
Okay, let me give you the first hint. Okay, look. So guys, look at this. Here's $3,000. 3,000 times 2 is equal to what?
6,000.
$6,000. This is one double. Times 2 is equal to what? 12,000.
Is it one?
That's a number 2 double.
Is it 126,000?
No, but you're getting closer.
So it's doubling 6 times.
Guys,
Keep writing.
times 2 equals what? 12, it was 24,000.
Okay, stop right there. You got the pattern. You're gonna give them money, they gotta think.
That's right. I'm not, I gotta, yes. Yeah.
I know.
Is it 19,000?
What is that number? What's that number?
I figured this. I don't know how to say.
Oh, that's That's too many zeros.
Oh,
Is that 4,000?
Close.
48,000?
You got the right number. You just have too many zeros.
What? Really? What'd she say?
no.
You said something like 1,900.
It's not 126,000.
Say it.
I don't know.
Yep.
She has it right. $1,000. Guys, so if you, this is, see, it says the rule of 72 guru. Okay, so you're the rule of 72 guru. Okay, so if you put in $3,000, let's do the math real quickly, guys. Look, 3,000 is going to double how many times? 6, right? 7 goes into 42 6 times. So if it doubles 6 times, we got 6,000, 12,000, 24,000, 48,000, 96,192,000. Okay, so if you're an ambitious HG girl and you earn $3,000 and you are, how old are you guys? 14? Okay, let's say 4. Let's just say 14. 14 plus 42 is 56 years old. You put $3,000 in at 56 years old when you're my age. You end up actually younger than me, but close enough. You have almost $200,000 and all you put in was what? $3,000. It doubled 6 times. 6 times. Okay.
Do they have to do anything in that 10 year, in that year?
You have to invest it in something earning 10%, but not, you don't do anything to it. Okay. There is a sheet in your that looks like this. Okay. So this, do you need one, Charlie?
No.
You got one or no?
No.
Here's a pack.
Oh, yeah.
So this just shows how smart HG girls are. Okay. So who can tell me what age the HG girl is that starts this investing plan on the left side? 15. That's right. Because this HG girl is really sharp and she's really ambitious. And she earns $5,000 a year at age 15 and she saves all of it. But guess what? She only saves it for 10 years. From age 15, okay, to age what? 24. So how much money is that? What's that?
You said she saves it for 10 years. You said she started at 15.
And she went
And then went to 24.
Yeah, that's what it's.
Right,
Wouldn't
which
it
is
be
10 years.
25?
Well, no, that'd be 11 years. If she starts at 15,
You're counting the.
you're counting the 15th year. And so 10 years times $5,000, how much did you invest? Look at the bottom of that column. $50,000. That's right. That girl invested $50,000, but you know what? She didn't invest any more money because at 24, she had a baby. She quit working. Stayed home. But she didn't touch the money and she earned 7% a year until she was 65. How much money did she have?
A lot.
Much is it?
1,184,000.
I'm not gonna try and say that.
$1,184,000. Almost $1.2 million. And how much did she put in? 50 grand. Okay, now look at the column on the right. We got a Girl Scout. She's a Gold Star winner. She's a smart girl. She knows she needs to invest money, but she waits a little while. And she goes, you know what? I'm going to wait until I get out of college or I'm in college and I have a job and I start making money and I'm just going to work my whole career. And I am going to put $5,000 in starting at age 30 years old. So she puts in $5,000 a year every year from age 30 all the way to guess what? Age 70. How much did she put in? $205,000. How much more is that she put in than the HG girl? 4 times. She put in 4 times as much money. How much more money does she have than the HG girl at age 70?
Less.
Less.
Yeah, well,
How much more does she have at age 65? How much does she have at 65?
less.
$796,000. HG girl has 1.2 million, almost $500,000 more, and she put in 50 grand. Start early. Start early. The power of compounding, this whole compounding thing, this rule that's right here is unbelievably powerful. I mean, this girl worked hard. She put in a lot of money and it grew. Now here's the key. Add this column and this column together. What if you're an HG girl and you have put money in and you just keep putting it in all the way down here? Just like you had that, you got 2 million. Really $2.2 million. If you put in 255,000. So if you combine those, so if you get married and your husband starts putting money in, it's a lot of money. But guess what? They didn't put very much in. Put in $5,000 a year. It's about $480 a month. Okay, so if you don't have a car payment, you buy a car that's used, you can save some money. So, you know, these are expensive cars if you spend all your money on cars and you don't do it. So anyway, that is a lesson on that. Okay. What time do we?
4:30.
Okay, good. 8. It's great. So do y'all have questions so far? Any
How
questions?
do you know this?
Because I'm old and I have studied this. Yes.
If you were to get a share, but you didn't have all the money in shares, so you and another person decided to buy the share together, how would that work when it came to the benefits?
So let's say that you bought a share, it's $100 shares price and you put in 50 and the other person puts in 50. Who's opening the account?
First person.
Or first person owns it. They'll just have to, second person just have to trust the first person to give them the money. Now you can open a joint account. If you put the money in there jointly, then it's split. I mean, so you could do that. But I would probably just personally, I would save enough, you know, to buy it on your own instead of buying it with another person. Because all of a sudden, what if the other person says, I want my money? And you're like, but I don't want my money. And the stock's down. They said, I don't care, give me my money. Well, you're gonna have to either come out of pocket, pay them the dollars, and then you keep the share, or sell the stock at a lower price. And then they get a discounted amount and you're stuck holding the discount amount. And now you don't have your investment.
Would it be less of a risk if the stock that you bought goes down, that the amount of money for the thing goes down?
Intrinsically, yes. Meaning, if you buy it at 10 and then a year later it's at 8, you have less of a risk because it's at a lower price. You know, but there might be a reason it's at 8. I mean, they might have lost a lot of money and they lost their leadership and they lost a big contract. So, you know, who you don't really know. We have an old adage, never catch a falling knife. You're probably going to get a cut a couple times. So if you see a stock that's just continuing to go down and go, oh, I'm going to catch it at the bottom. It's like catching a knife. I mean, it's like, I've tried to catch too many falling knives and I've just gotten cut to pieces. I'm gonna let stocks kind of, you know, find their bottom and start moving their way up before I even touch that thing. So, yeah. Do you have any other that you're raising?
I mean, if you do it with another person, would it be less of a risk of losing your money?
No, because if you say, I'm gonna put in $5, you could lose all $5. I mean, it depends on how much you want to put in. If you don't want to put in 100, you want to put in 50. Yeah, you can only lose 50, but you still could lose all of the 50. So it just depends on you want to limit your loss to say, how much do I really want to lose? How much can I, according to my long-term plan, I can lose, you know, I can be risky with this amount. Okay, if I lose it all, it doesn't affect me in the future. I would look at it more that way than anything. Most of the time, we tell people to build their portfolios like this. And you're gonna put, you're gonna earn smaller rates of return there, bigger rates of return there, really big rates of return here, but you don't put as much money in these bigger ones, but you've already built this base right here, and you've already built this base right here. So if you do lose this up here, you still have all this left. You're not getting as big a rate of return, but your risks are really small. Your risks here are really big. And so what you're doing is you're trying to build the pyramid this way. And, if you start down here and you put, a certain amount of money in down here and all of a sudden that's gone. Well, I mean, pyramids that are built like this tend to fall over real easily. And so you want to build your pyramid a little bit more stable, with your money at the bottom. And then you could take some risk up here with that because it's not going to affect your other. Does that help you guys understand? Does that help you understand? Okay. This right here is one of my favorite pieces of literature of all time. This company has been around for how long? Just look at the front cover. How long has it been around? 88 years. That's right. How many of you are 88 years old? Okay. All right. Yeah, exactly. So this company, the American Funds Company, Capital Group, started an investment company, mutual called the Investment Company of America, the ICA. And they have used this years and years and years and years and years and years and years to teach people about investing in the stock market. If you turn to the very, 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 very middle, you'll see that this thing does this. See it folds out like this. Okay. So this right here basically says if you put $10,000 in this mutual fund right here, what day did you put the money in it back here? What's that date?
1934.
1934. All the way to right here, 2021. What's the value of your $10,000 over here?
That's a lot.
$302 million.
I can't say that.
Okay, $302 million. Now, they it's not exactly, to scale, but it's close enough. If you look at the bottom, they're a little red. See those little red things at the bottom?
When the stock market was failing.
Those are the years the stock market was negative and you quote lost money or went down. Are there more red years or blue years? Blue, way more blue years. Everybody focuses on the red, but there really way more blue years. So I want you to notice something. At the top, they have certain words or phrases, and it tells you in that year probably the biggest news story that was bad for the stock market in that year. So pick a year and tell me what the bad news story is in one of the. What year were you born? What year? Pull your year out that you're born. Tell me what was bad news in stock market.
U.S. recession.
U.S. recession.
Recession.
So there's a U.S. recession.
Hurricanes devastate southern U.S.
What is that
Okay,
called?
the hurricane devastates. Yes.
U.S. unemployment tops 10%.
Oh my goodness, horrible news. You better get out of the stock market. Hey, look at 1964. What was 1964?
Kennedy's assassination.
62 was the assassination.
Wait, it was?
62 was the Cuban Missile Crisis. 63.
64 is the Gulf.
63 was.
63
64
was. So what this is saying is basically fold it back up and look at this right here. Look at this. This tells you all the reasons why you shouldn't invest in the stock market. Pearl Harbor, 1941. 10 years later, $10,000 would have been worth $37,000, a 14% rate of return. Is that a good rate of return? We've only talked about 10, 7, and 5. Is 14 good? Really good. Yes. Very good. Okay, what about the one that says President Kennedy was assassinated in November of 63? put $10,000 in. 10 years later, it more than doubled, 9.5% to $24,000. So, guys, what this is saying is that stock market goes up and down. Look at the top of that page. You see the little up and downs, up and downs, up and downs on that big fold out thing. So you can see that there's all kinds of reasons that you should or shouldn't invest. What this is telling you, this is Louis the loser. He, you know what he did? He invested his money at the wrong time. He put it in at the top of the market every single year, this whole time. What was his average rate of return? Look down below it.
Average rate of return was 10.45%.
That's good. And he put his money in at the wrong time every single year. 10 grand in every single year at the wrong time. Look at the rate of return of his sister, Betty Best Day. What's the rate of return she got?
12.6.
That's right. So 12.6, 10.45. What are the odds of one of you investing at the exact wrong time or the exact right time every single year for, how long is that period of time? For 20 years?
Yep.
What's the odds of that? It's impossible. So you're going to land somewhere in the middle, right? So if you've done this over that same period of time, you've earned somewhere between 11.5%, no matter when you put the money in, because you can't time it more perfectly. So the whole point is, don't try to time the market. Buy your mutual funds. If you work for a company, you have a 401k, sign up for the 401k. Take money out of your bank, out of your paycheck, and every single month, every single paycheck, which you get paid, you get paid twice a month on the 1st and the 15th. Then you're putting money in 24 times over the course of the year. So you're not going to hit the high, and you're not going to hit the low. You're just going to, we call it DCA, dollar cost average in the market. So you're going to get a rate of return that's going to be good. There are going to be profitable companies out there. If there are never, ever any profitable companies, what happens?
America collapses and capitalism as we know it will fail.
That's right. You are exactly right. But what's the problem with that theory? There's a capitalist out there ready to step in and take over that market. So that it will never happen. I mean, so yes. All right. So let's do this. Let's play a game.
Okay. I love games.
You love games.
I do.
Turn to page 6. Turn to page 6. Okay. All right, page 6 is our game. On page 6, on the left-hand side, if you put in $10,000 into this mutual fund, this is a mutual fund, so we talked about stocks, so we talked about mutual fund. This mutual fund owns and invests in lots of different stocks. This is a real mutual fund. So tell me how much of your $10,000 will be invested in McDonald's if you put your money into this fund. $55. That is absolutely correct. Good job. Okay.
I know.
So McDonald's would be $55. So if you put $10,000 in, is $55 a real big amount of the 10,000? Not that much. So if McDonald's goes up or down by half, is it going to affect your money that much?
No.
No. That is the power of what we talked about the very, very first, diversification. You own a mutual fund, you have lots of different stocks. They can go up and down, sideways, whatever. But you want that whole thing to do well, right? Okay. So we're going to play a game. I'm going to give you, it says on the right-hand side, investing in stocks requires skill. ICA's investment professionals, those are the money managers, draw on a long experience and in-depth research to make decisions about the fund's holdings. A professionally well-managed diversified portfolio can make a difference over time. Imagine that 88 years ago, You could have invested $1,000 into each of 5 different companies. 5 of those companies. Now remember, you got hindsight. I mean, you guys are 14 years old. Y'all have driven around. Y'all have bought things. You've eaten at McDonald's. You bought, you use MasterCards. You have an Apple Watch. All those things, okay? So all these companies on the right-hand side are for your choosing. I want you to think about this, and I want you to put a check box. Check the boxes of the 5 companies that you would invest the $5,000, $1,000 in each one. In a minute, we're going to add up what those companies did over that 88 years. And whose ever $5,000 is worth the most money. You see this right here? We'll be the stock picking champion in the class. And by the way, don't think that I've got people that kind of use some skill, but sometimes it's just lucky pick. Okay. So don't sweat over it. Look at the companies you think have done just the best job of marketing to their constituents,
So,
making a profit. Yes,
so we're trying to find like the most like profitable.
that's right. The
Oh,
most
okay.
profitable companies over the last 88 years. Okay. I'm going to give everybody about another minute or two. It's at 4:30. I'm going to give you another minute or two to figure it out. While I'm waiting, I'm going to give everybody here a parting gift for those that have participated.
Don't kill me. Like,
For sure. So that right there is my company's called Eversource Advisors. And there is a world on one side with a pie kind of chart, that it's kind of sitting on. That pie, if you turn it over, you'll see on the back side, you'll see that same pie, and you'll read what it says. Somebody read the outside edge.
Jesus Christ, God's Son, Savior, and something in Greek that I cannot read.
Ichthus. Yeah, I think. Does it say Ichthus or something?
You're not
So,
looking at
at the bottom, you'll see underneath, that's kind of Ichthus. But those Greek letters at the bottom stand for Jesus Christ, Lord, Savior, Son of God, basically. What's it on? So back in the early times, the Christians would draw these circles like this. And if you go over to Egypt, you go over to the Middle East, you'll see these circles that look like these pie charts. These pies. That means it's safe to go in there. Christians are in that hall or in that cave or wherever they're. That right there is what you see on that kind of mark Christianity. But you can see the I, which is right here. You can see the Ichthus, you can see the sigma that's just like that. I guess it's the other way. You can see the cross right there. You can see this right here. Every one of those letters is in that circle. And so Eversource Wealth Advisors, we want to be a light to people across the world that we're Christians. Do I?
Did you say do 4 or
5.
5?
Does everybody pick 5?
Almost.
Who does not pick 5? You got about 15 seconds.
Got it.
And then watch the clock. Okay. This is where you need your piece of paper. Where you need your piece of paper.
no, okay. I drew.
It's okay. All right. So this is what we're gonna do. I need you to. It probably works well if you work with somebody that's next to you,
Okay.
because they'll have a sheet. No, you need yours open too. Flip the page to page 8. Page 8 has every one of those stocks listed.
Oh.
So I want you to circle the names of your stocks. And I want you to add the number that's beside your stock. Add all 5 of those up.
So I had, wait,
And then we're gonna find out who is the champion's top picker. And no changing. Whatever you
Okay.
picked, you pick.
Hey, I picked Disney and it has like a 2 beside it. It's the same thing as Disney. I'm both like,
Yeah. Just,
I picked, I wrote them all down. I just basically picked the ones that I use.
that's good.
Most popular.
Go ahead and add up all your, if you have a calculator, add it all up, write your total down. You can write it down on that page in your book if you want. Don't tell your neighbor.
Ooh, I didn't do that.
Don't tell your neighbor.
Where's adding? Yeah. We have them up.
Add them up. Yeah, add all 5 of those together.
I need a calculator. Can I use it? Whose phone is this?
Michelle's.
Michelle, can you put your calculator? No.
It's a big number. Big number. Big number.
He doesn't make it.
I know, I was surprised.
Me too.
Do y'all have just hundreds of millions of dollars?
Not yet.
So much.
Millions.
Math facts. Okay,
I have my number.
who does not have their number yet?
I'm not proud of
Okay.
Double checking.
I'm starting to question her now.
What's her number?
I don't know. She says she got a different one both times. I'm thinking she really.
Are we supposed to double check?
Yes.
You ought to pass it to your neighbor and have your neighbor check on it.
Okay. Dear neighbor.
I'm so.
That's my number that I got.
Okay.
I
Who
know.
does, who
The
does
protector
not
did-
have a number?
Real quick, did anybody do the protector and Amazon?
No.
What? Procter and Gamble?
Yeah, that.
What is that?
Procter and Gamble? Procter and Gamble. How many guys have siblings that wear diapers? Or diapers? Procter and Gamble makes diapers.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't.
Shampoo, so yeah, they make lots of drugs. Okay, guys, okay, everybody stand up. Stand up. All right. Here's what we're gonna do. Everybody whose total value was more than $100,000 stay standing. Okay, more than $250,000 stay standing. Okay, let's go. Wow. More than $400,000 stay standing. Man, $500,000. Everybody got more than $500,000? All right, 600,000. Uh-oh,
What is next?
she's Louis the loser. $700,000. We're losing some people. $800,000. $900,000. $1 million. Who has $1 million? Wow. Okay, this is good. $1.3 million.
No, you're out. That's
I am?
yeah, you're 1.1.
Okay, we got it. Everybody, 1.3, you're good? 1.3? Okay. $1 million.
You're good.
$1,400,000.
Oh.
We got 4 people.
I should have.
$1,500,000. Okay, you 3 ladies come up here. Don't let anybody know you're not. Don't let anybody.
Yeah, you're above that. You're above that.
Okay, come over here.
This
This right here, this lady right here, she's already got one. You're gonna rake it in. You're gonna have both of them.
Wait, Taylor, why did you sit down on like the second night? I don't know.
So 1,500,000, $1,550,000. Still up? Okay. $1,550,800. $1,006,000. Are you still up? Okay. $1,650,000. Still standing. $1,700,000.
I want to be this company.
Oh my goodness. Here we go, $1,800,000. Okay, stop it. What'd you have?
1 million.
Oh.
1,700,000.
Wrong. I keep getting it wrong.
What do you have? What are your numbers?
I don't know how to say that.
You have $5,600,000.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
It's impossible.
That's what my calculator said.
I mean, you can't get that much.
Did you use a calculator? Yeah.
I'm gonna-
I used my phone.
Just
No.
because she was able to add up her stock prices, and she was the highest one, and you are 1-1. Congratulations, you are the champion stock picker. What did y'all have? 2.1 million.
Yes.
Wow.
Million, yeah.
They picked Procter &
Procter
Gamble. That was a good pick. Okay. That's right. Nice picking.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the point of this. That's great picking. But look at this. Look at the investment results on page 8. Okay. On page 8, it says right there on the left-hand side, based on a hypothetical $1,000 investment over 88 years, period ended December 31st. None of the Dow companies would have outpaced the investment company, even though some of them may have done better than ICA in some periods of their lifetime. So remember, $1,000 turned to 2.1 million. So they did a good job, but had they put all 5,000 in this fund, they would have had 10 million, because this is 1,000 invested, not 5,000 invested. This is 1,000 invested. So they had the opportunity to invest all their money in Procter & Gamble, which would have been what? If they had chosen that, 5 times 1.6, so you would have $9.4 million or something like that, which would be great. But they didn't. So, or actually 8 point something million. So what this is saying is that these professionals didn't have the hindsight, like looking back and they know all the stuff. They kind of like, oh, we picked Procter & Gamble because we knew all this stuff. Well, the money managers didn't know that at the time. I mean, they didn't understand that. So the point is you could have chosen this and you did a good job. You made money. But think if you had just allowed these professionals to do it, $10 million versus 2.1. So that's the benefit of investing in companies, because they probably didn't own some of these companies the whole time. They sold some, they replaced them, they did stuff like that. So it's going to be a, you know, I get a money management choice every single year. Like one of them, I remember Kodak. They're not on here now because they're out of business. But Kodak was the number one picks, because guess what? The baby boomers, everybody was taking pictures in the 1940s. I mean, it was unbelievable. But then Kodak kind of digital just took over and, you know, hurt them. So you got to be careful to keep all your money in one thing over long periods of time. One last thing I'm going to go through, and I think this is a pretty fascinating story. Look up page 3. Talks about inflation and staying ahead. Everybody's talking about inflation right now. It's, oh, you know, everything's more expensive. Everything's more expensive. Everything's more expensive. How much was a postage stamp back in 1934?
10 cents.
3
Three.
cents. 3 cents.
Page 3, right there, it'll show you. You're on page
Right here. Here's your little key at the top. 1980, it was how much?
1980, it's 15.
15 cents. That's right. So now it's 58. It's actually like 60 cents now. But it's 58 cents. That's an 1,800% increase. 1,800%.
100 years.
So the point of this is that if you look at this little paragraph right here, it says that this fund invested over that period of time, that $1,000 put in 1934, or actually 88 years. I mean, but it would have been grown to $30 million, which is 12% a year. That's more than 3 times the rate of inflation of 3.5%. So the point is, if you want to stay ahead of inflation, you've got to invest in something that's going to earn more than inflation. Bonds have not done that. Bonds that have, money markets, bonds. What can you get in the money market right now? Right now, you can almost get 4. I mean,
Can you tell what money market
a money market is put your money, go to Home Federal Bank, open up an account, put your money in an account, savings, past savings account, or something like that. Money market, I mean, kind of the same. But
buy bonds from the government, right?
what's that?
You can buy bonds from the
You can buy bonds from the government right now, which depends on where you want. If you want to go out 30 years, you can get maybe 3%. But if you want to go out 1 year, you can get 4.7. Because the yield curve is inverted. I mean, you're getting a higher rate today, for 1 year than you are for 30 years. But the point is that you've got to beat inflation. If you don't beat inflation, your money's just going backwards. I mean, you're really not earning anything. So if you turn to the next page, you're going to see the Boons and the Clausens. Boons and the Clausens have been in this magazine for, goodness gracious, as long as I've been using them, 30 something years. But you got the Boons and you got the Clausens. The Boons said, you know what, we're retired, and we took $500,000 and we put $500,000 in. We put it in, these people, they put it in a guaranteed 5.74% bond, U.S. bond, because they want to be safe. So that 5.7% every year gave them $28,700 for 20 years. What was the problem with that? Inflation. Because 20 years, at the end of 20 years, guess what they were still earning? $28,700. But what did the price of everything do? It continued to go up and up and up. And what was the other thing that happened? In 20 years, what did they have to do? Their bond matured. They have to reinvest that money. What are interest rates right now on a 20-year bond? About 3. So now they go buy a 20-year bond with the same $500,000. What do they get? 3% on $500,000, $15,000. So their income went from $28,700 to $15,000. That's what they call reinvestment risk. What's going to be the risk if you buy a bond, you don't know what interest rates are gonna be in 5, 10, 20 years. And when that bond matures, you better hope it's higher than what you put it in. Now, the Clausens, see them enjoying their bikes out in the country, and they're not looking at their budget and sweating over their investment. So what they did is they put $500,000 into what? You can only guess. No, ICA. The CI. They did not put it in the CI. They put it in the ICA. So they put it in the ICA, and you know what they did? Second paragraph, they start taking out 4% of the value of their investment, which was what? $20,000 a year when they first started. But guess what they did? Every single year, they increased their withdrawals by 3%. Inflation. So they started with right here, $20,000. See that little bar chart? How much were they pulling out in year 2012? 26,878. What about in year 2021? 20 years later, how much are they pulling out? Almost double what they started with. How much money do they have in their account? Look in the top right. Reinvestment risk? Do they have reinvestment risk? No. They've got that. They've got the investment. The other people still have their $500,000. They're safe, but now they're making $15,000 a year. These guys put in 500. They literally were taking more out every single year, and they have double the amount that they started with. So what's going to be their income the next year? What can you think? 3% more, right? Because that's what they're doing. So the point of this is that when you retire, everybody goes, 65, get my gold watch, and I'm retiring, and I'm going to get my pension. It's fine, but guess what happens? You're probably going to live another 25 years. You live 25 more years after 65, you got that money can't run out. The money needs to pay over that period of time. So if you put it in something like bonds, you're going to have this flat thing, and cost of living is going to go like this, and you're going to pay for drugs. Who knows what that long-term care, all these different things.
All stuff.
That's exactly right. So the other people put it in, and they just kept getting more and more and more and more and more and more and more. Because guess what? They put in a highly diversified portfolio of companies that make money, and they took, they were prudent, obviously, and took a little bit of time. So anyway, here's the extra folder. I don't know if we need it.
Yeah, back to growth.
Yeah, here's one more.
Yeah.
So do you guys have any, I know you have just no questions. I've answered all the questions.
Here, Jim, do you want your name for that?
No, you can't.
I do have a question.
Yeah.
So when you go back to the chart of the age to girl versus the American Heritage,
Yeah.
I mean the Girl Scout girl.
Yeah.
The most girls at 15 don't have $5,000 to invest. Can their parents or grandparents start that investment for them? How does that
That's a
work?
great question, Shelley. So a Roth, that says Roth IRA, I think, maybe on it. If you put money in a Roth.
Oh, yes, it does. Good job.
But
Can you tell, what does IRA stand for?
individual retirement account.
What's the difference between a regular one and a Roth?
And so there are two types of account. I'm gonna do this. There's IRA. I'm just gonna do this. IRA.
Just wait, showing you guys.
Individual retirement account. So you have traditional. Traditional, then you have Roth. So you have a Roth IRA and you have a traditional IRA. Those are the two types. This one that's right here, the traditional, dollars go in before tax. This one, dollars go in after tax. But the biggest thing is this. Dollars out 100% taxed. Zero taxes on all dollars. So that's the difference between these two. So you can put in the same amount in each one of them. This year it's 6,500. They just upped it in 2023, 7,000 for me and 6,500 for somebody under 50. So $6,500 what you can put in. But if you put money in here, dollars go in before tax. That means if you put your $5,000 in, you don't pay any taxes. You can deduct it from your income. So if you're in a 20% bracket, 20% of 5,000 is $1,000. So think about the sheet that you just had, the HG girl. How much money did she put in? Total 50,000. If she's in a 20% bracket, she's probably not because she's young. Let's say she's in a 12% bracket. 12% of 50,000 is going to be $6,000. She pays $6,000 in taxes or saves $6,000 in taxes. So you tell me, do you want to save $6,000 in taxes on 50 and pay taxes on $1.1 million? Or do you want to pay $12,000 on 50,000 and pull out 1.1 million with no tax? That's a no-brainer. I mean, an absolute no-brainer. And that's what we tell you. There's a lot of other things that go into that, but you really want to pay taxes early, especially if you're in a low bracket, because we're going to be in a higher bracket.
So then go back to the question about the parent or the grandparent.
Okay, you have to have earnings to justify the contribution. So if you earn $2,000, you can't put $5,000 in a Roth IRA. If you earn $2,000, you can put roughly $2,000 in. It's a little bit less, but it's about that. You have to take into account.
So a grandparent can do it for a grandchild in their name?
If they have earned income.
Okay.
The child has to have earned income. You have to have a W-2, a 1099.
The child does.
The child does.
Okay.
The person who's tax, what's the word? Tax ID, Social Security. Whoever Social Security is on that IRA, that's who has to have the income. But anybody can fund it.
Okay.
So I mean, if your grandparents want to fund my IRA, great. I don't have to, but I have to have enough earned income to do that. The other thing is if you're married, raise your hand if you're married. Okay. Okay. So, for example,
Yeah, I don't have income.
right.
My IRA, I have my husband's income.
Right.
It's justified.
They call it a spousal IRA. So even though she doesn't have any earned income, as long as they make 12,000, they can put in 12,000, 6 for her, 6 for him. So there's a spousal thing that is
So kind of viewed like a team. They're viewed
yeah,
as a team.
exactly. So you can do that. When I say there's no tax, zero taxes on all adult draws, you have to be careful because in this, if you pull last out before 59 and a half, you do actually have a tax on this. I'm just talking about money after 59 and a half. You can pull out all the dollars that you put in with no tax and no penalty, even under 59 and a half. Anything over, any gains, that's when you're going to have a tax. But we're like, this is the last place you want to go. You just want to leave this in. You want that, that sheet that you have that has the HG girl that has $1.1 million. You want that 1.1 million. And anytime you take out $1,000, guess what? You're taking out 1/50 of that. Yeah. Yes.
Quick question, because I know time's up. How good do you need to be at math to do your job? Like algebra, calculus?
No.
What?
Simple math, you're great. I mean, algebra, calculus, it helps. There are some formulas and there's some Excel spreadsheets, but now you've got computers that do a lot of that calculation for you, so you don't necessarily. One of the things I put in there is you can be an assistant, like Patty Salvador is my assistant. And she makes a very good living as an assistant. I mean, literally, you could work there and retire. I mean, if you are an assistant to a financial advisor. So you don't necessarily have to be, but there are a lot of assistants that go in as assistant and they stay for 10 years and like, man, I can do this. And they become financial advisors. So you can kind of get in that way, but you still have to have a degree to have a designation. Certified financial planner, CMA, CFA, CRPS, which I have, which is Certified Retirement Plan Specialist. CKA is Certified Kingdom Advisor. That's a designation that Ron Ballou and a Christian organization give advisors that go through a 6-month course and complete all this stuff. And so anyway, hope this was helpful. I'm glad that at least 2 people got the prizes and you didn't just double up on that one. $5 million is pretty awesome, but I don't think you couldn't get there.
I actually might have multiplied. I got the actual number.
1,737,000.
Still good, yeah.
What did you have?
Let me do the math again.
You had it written down. Yeah,
Yeah, and then.
the 1,700,000.
$1,070,000 something.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying.
That's what I was thinking.
It's,
What did you pick? Let's say pick the next one.
What did you pick?
Home Depot, Microsoft, Coca-Cola, Apple, and Disney.
Oh, yeah, she picked high.
Let me find the thing.
All right.
That's all right.
Thank you, Mr. Darlington. We appreciate it. Great. Okay, girl, if anybody has or what's this again? Okay, what? What's this again? The one where we go to the stables, our horses, our playgrounds.
Y'all have a great weekend.
Thank you, Mr. Darlington.
You're welcome.
As in a couple of weeks.
Get that all recorded, Shelley.
I did, yeah.